Hi guys, hello, welcome to my channel. I have got such a fun video today. I'm so excited. Basically, we're gonna be going to Spirit Halloween because we're gonna be letting costumes pick which books we purchase at Barnes & Noble. So we're gonna go to Spirit, look at a bunch of costumes, go to Barnes, buy some books. And a little bit of a spoiler, I have actually already done the first round of this. I intended on this being a reading vlog originally, so I was just gonna get one. October is coming to a close very quickly and I just don't have time, I feel like, for an actual reading vlog. So we're turning this into a bookstore vlog. So we're going back to Spirit and back to Barnes to pick up 2 more books. So it'll be 3 in total. Let's go. So first things first, I kind of hated the Spirit that we went to the first time around. The layout was really open and bright, which made me like extra self-conscious with filming. And then the music was also super loud. So I couldn't really talk to you guys like I wanted to. So we will be doing a voiceover for the costume portion. The way that I ended up picking the costumes was with a number generator. I counted all of the aisles of the adult costumes. And for this first store, there was 20 aisles. And then once we found our aisle, I used the generator again to pick which side of the aisle I was going to choose from. In this instance, it picked a wall of like Scooby-Doo and Toy Story costumes. And I did try my best to count the costumes. There were about 45. There was a lot of them. So this rule actually did change for the second round. But for now, there is 45. And the generator ended up picking this Buzz Lightyear mask. For the flow of the video, we are going to find all of our costumes first. So here is our new Spirit location. This one was much nicer to film in. That being said, I still didn't get as many shots as I wanted to just because I feel like Spirit is one of those stores where everyone that's going in there is looking at everything. So it was really hard to get a section to myself for longer than like 2 seconds, but we did our best. And for our second costume, again, we counted all of the adult costume aisles and there were 19 in this store. And the first pick that our generator gave us was aisle 18. One side of this aisle had a ton of different costumes, but of course our generator picked side 2, which basically just had a ton of clown and witch costumes. And here's kind of where we ended up switching things up. Because there were 2 very definitive types or like themes for the costumes, I just counted those, aka 2, and our generator did land on 2, which was witch. And then our last and final aisle that the generator chose for us was lucky number 13. One side of this aisle had a ton of different animal costumes, which made me a little nervous. And for some reason with this aisle, I decided to switch what 1 and 2 was. And we ended up getting 1, which worked out in my favor because it wasn't the animal side. And again, we had 2 very distinct themes for the costumes. We had kind of like an Egyptian / mythology kind of thing going on. And then hippie, which I was very nervous about. And of course, that is the one that we got. We're about to go into the bookstore and I'm so scared. We have to get a book with a witch and a hippie. I feel like the witch one should be relatively easy, but the hippie one I'm nervous for. I feel like that one's gonna be difficult / it's gonna end up being a book I don't really want to read. We'll see though. Maybe there's like a thriller with a hippie camp or something. Because I knew the hippie book would be the most difficult to find, I wanted to tackle that one first. So I started in the new release area. And although I did find a ton of books I want, I was getting a little overwhelmed by how they were set up. So I headed off to the tables and my game plan was basically to find a book that I'd heard good things about or that just looked interesting that also happened to take place in the 60s or 70s. So I did end up looking at the back of a lot of books throughout this book shopping process. So definitely pause to read if any of these look good to you. Historical fiction. I just don't want to read any of this. I'm really hoping to find like a fun hippie book. But like I can't think of a time where I've seen one. I'm hoping I can find the hippie one in like a thriller, because then I think I'll be more inclined to actually read it. Love the cover of this one. And no date. Love this one, but it looks very 80s. Again, the wrong decade. I'm thinking maybe romance might have like a cute hippie character. Maybe, hopefully. So this doesn't have anything to do with hippies, but when I think of a hippie, I think of like music as well. And this sounds like love, which is about music. So I feel like this is a stretch for sure, but maybe this. I'm having even harder of a time finding a hippie book than I thought. So I think I'm gonna try to find the witch book next. I feel like I need to find something. I'm gonna go to fantasy and hopefully we have better luck. I like the illustration on the cover. She's a curse writer. That seems witchy. That's a cool cover for the Game of Thrones. Love that. I don't really care to read that series, but that's a cool cover. And of course, I am not forgetting about our very first costume, the Buzz Lightyear mask. And we are going to be going back in time a little bit to our first bookstore trip. And for me personally, the second I think space, I think sci-fi. So we basically beelined straight for that section. And I was a little nervous at first, but there are so many books in this section that I want to get now. We are back from our little adventure. Let me tell you, this was way more stressful than I thought it was gonna be. I think there is a reason that I have never seen anyone else do this video before. As I kind of explained earlier, I did do this over 2 different days because originally this was going to be a reading vlog, so I was only gonna pick one book, and that went really well. I mean, it was still a little bit stressful just because Spirit Halloween was just very packed that day. The music was super freaking loud, but actually matching a costume to a book didn't end up being as hard as I thought it was gonna be, which gave me a lot of false confidence going into day 2 when I decided to switch the video idea. Day 2 was a lot more difficult. We were in the bookstore literally forever, but we did finally find all of our books, so let's go through them. The first one we're going to talk about is the one that I did on day 1, and as a refresher, our costume was Buzz Lightyear, so we had to find something kind of space related. I ended up going for Dungeon Crawler Carl, specifically because, I mean, the synopsis sounded so good, but then also a couple of you have recommended this book to me, so I figured now would be the perfect time to finally give it a shot. And you guys, I am so glad that I did, because as you can see, I do have a bookmark in here. I have been reading this very slowly over the last few days, and I am already so obsessed with this. This is such a fun freaking book. Basically, it's about Carl, who survives somewhat of an apocalypse type event and is kind of thrust into this intergalactic game show. And where I'm at currently, he hasn't gotten too far into the game yet. He's still on level 1. There's literally different levels as if it was a video game. And he is doing this alongside his girlfriend's show cat, Princess Donut. It's been very random and very fun, and I highly recommend. There are many books in this series, so I'm very excited about that, but also my bank account will be crying because, like I said, I am already obsessed, so I will be getting the second book ASAP. And for my fellow cover obsessed readers, here's kind of what the dust jacket looks like, and here's what the hardcover looks like. Typically I don't like this mismatched color situation, but we're letting it slide for the series because each of them has a metallic foiled saying on the hardcover, and each book is different. And I didn't show it on camera, but we did go through every single one of the books to see what all of the sayings were. I don't remember what any of them are off the top of my head anymore, but I remember it being really fun, so I'm excited to kind of relive that experience as I buy each new book. So anyway, this one says, "You will not break me." Like I said, this one definitely, the whole experience, the whole purchasing, picking, reading experience so far, it definitely gave me a false sense of confidence going into day 2 of our shopping experience. And I do want to mention, it was harder because I was trying to find books that I could actually realistically see myself read. I mean, our third costume, I literally just could not find anything, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But I didn't want to buy a book just for the sake of the video. I feel like I did that unintentionally when I first started this channel, and I feel like that's why I have so many older books just sitting on my shelves, because I lost interest in them almost immediately. So I wanted to make sure that I was getting books that I could really see myself reading. That being said, I feel like I might have cheated a little bit with the Witches one. So I ended up getting Dire Bound, which first of all, I did not realize how chunky this book is, so I'm a little nervous about that. But I have been hearing so many good things about this book recently, and I do literally already have this loaded on my Kindle, so it was something that I was already planning on reading. That being said, I don't think the back of this says anything about witches whatsoever, so I did Google it, not actually thinking that there really was going to be witches, but I just kind of crossed my fingers and hoped, and there is apparently. This one very much reminds me of the concept of Fourth Wing, but instead of bonding with a dragon, you're bonding with a dire wolf. And it does say on the back that there are bonding trials, which anything with a trial in it is instantly a win for me. So I love everything about the sound of this. So I'm very, very excited about it. And now, last but not least, we're gonna go over our third option, which again, refresher, was hippie. I legitimately don't think I have ever seen a single book that involves hippies, ever. And as you saw from the bookstore footage, I did kind of go back and forth with a couple of different ideas, and I finally decided to just go with the other option in the aisle, because we were in the bookstore for literally ever. So again, we ended up going kind of with like the mythology theme, which was the other option for that aisle. And I ended up getting another book that I've been seeing a lot of good things about recently, which is Blood of Hercules. Originally when we went, I was trying to find books that I hadn't really heard a ton of things about so that they could also be kind of like newer maybe for you guys as well. But I couldn't find anything that like really sounded interesting and also that no one had talked about. So yeah, we got a couple of very popular books right now, but I'm excited about them. Ooh, there's a really pretty picture in here. I did not realize that. Which actually reminds me, I've heard good things about this book, but I had no idea what it was about. I assumed it was about Hercules because it's Blood of Hercules. There's a quote at the very top that I read in the store. It says, "I'm just a girl, and as it turns out, I'm Hercules." I had no idea that this was about a woman being Hercules, so that's definitely an interesting twist. And actually, kind of like circling back to what I was saying before about trying to get books that like people hadn't really heard of, there were two books, like this one and another one that I was kind of like going back and forth between. Here's what the other book was. I can't remember what it was called off the top of my head right now, and I would still be interested in reading this. It was a Hades and Persephone like retelling type of situation, which I love the story of Hades and Persephone, but reading over the synopses for the books, this one had a lot more actual mythology things going on. Like our main character is literally Hercules, and she also goes to like a school. She goes to the Spartan War Academy. So anyway, these are all three books that the costumes ended up picking for us, but our haul does not stop there because I did actually pick up one extra book and I figured I might as well just show it to you now. The last book that I ended up getting is Servant of Earth, and this one I feel like was a really lucky find because I've been hearing so many good things about this book randomly recently, and it just so happened to be 50% off. Like there's literally so many stickers on here, and this is actually a hardcover where the print is like printed onto the actual hardcover itself. It didn't have a dust jacket, which honestly I wish we saw more of. And with that, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If any of you guys get the itch to do this yourselves, please follow up with me. I want to know how it goes. It was definitely challenging, but it was really fun, and it could get you out of your comfort zone. Literally the only reason I got this book was because of this video concept, and I can already tell it's going to be a new favorite. Also, in theme with this video, if you guys are planning on dressing up for Halloween this year, what are you being? I personally will not be doing anything except for lounging on the couch, eating snacks, watching movies. I hope you guys have had the most amazing of days. I hope you have a happy Halloween, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!